Hi everyone, welcome back again to Spiritual Growth Tarot and Astrology, and as you can see, this is your weekly astrology report. We're going from the 12th through the 18th, I think. Yeah, checking my notes here. As well as, so the things that are happening this week, I kind of not sure if I'll title it when I get done, but it might be the week of Karmic Reckoning Part 2. We might have part 3 the next week because this month is just packed. So this week we're going to have Jupiter conjunct join up exactly with Chiron, so that'll provide a lot of healing support. And then later on, that happens on Sunday. And then we have Mars square Neptune that I talked about last week and probably a little the week before, but it'll be exact this week. And it'll also conjunct, the Sun will conjunct with Neptune at the same time. So, wow. And then Mercury, right? And then Venus is going to move into Taurus. She's going to love that, and so are you. So anyway, let me swap out cameras here. I'm so excited to show you these charts and get this going. Okay, hold on. Okay, so before we get started with this week's, I wanted to show you the chart for the day that Pluto moves into Aquarius. So you can see that it's, well, maybe you can't. Let me read it. It's March 23rd, 5:23 a.m. Pacific time. And you can see that it's still square the nodes. And it got me to looking to see how far does Pluto stay within that square to the nodes, because that's huge. I went forward and forward and found that the last day before, so the day after the 7th in 2023 this year, it's still there. It will leave on about 1:30 p.m. Pacific on the 7th, so it will be clear like on the 8th, and that's just because the nodes move out of that tight orb. And you can see that they have changed by then as well, too. So, you know, this will be July that we will change. The nodal axis will change from Taurus to Scorpio into Aries and Libra. And, of course, because the nodes move backwards, we're always starting with the later degree. So 29 degrees of both signs. That will happen. Like I was saying, I think it's July. I know it's July. I just can't remember the date. But I will get to that or go into that more deeply when we get there. But so notice that Pluto is no longer retrograde, and it has gone direct, or sitting there, stationed direct, back into Capricorn. So we have a couple of months of Pluto into Aquarius. We're just going to dip in like March and April. And here's, I don't know if you can see this clearly. Yeah, there's quite a glare with my camera there, but here, maybe if I do this. Okay, so right there, that October, what is that, October 23rd. That is when Pluto sits there. It's stationed direct. Well, you can see right there, 27 degrees Capricorn. That's right on our Pluto return for the USA, in the USA Sibley chart. So that'll be that final, that third, phase. And then right after, it will begin to go forward into, or it's clocking forward into Capricorn. And then, as you can see, by December, it only makes it to 28, right? And then later on, when we get there, I will, once Pluto is firmly into Aquarius, which will be, I think it's November. I know I have the date. Hold on, let me see, because I know that I have it somewhere here in my phone. Yeah. Okay, here I have it. November 19th, 2024, 4:58 p.m. Pacific. Pluto will be in Aquarius to stay. And it'll be, for about 20 years. I think it's to 2040, Yeah, 2044, I think. Something like that. Or 2040. I can't remember. I will figure that out later. So the reason I'm going over all this with you is to give you those important dates, but on another level, just to show you how important it is that we are at that anaretic degree of Capricorn here. And remember that has, if you have enough wisdom and you've been working on yourself and you've been working on being in your power, it will bring in more empowerment. But Pluto is the planet of transformation. It's the planet of our souls, right, on Earth, within that transformative urge. As humans, we are hardwired to transform back to the pure spirits that we are. Now you might wonder, ooh, how long is that going to take for some of these dirty politicians and dirty corporate monsters, right? Like Rupert Murdoch. So, yeah. And so remember this squaring the nodes, that this goes on through to the end of the year, and we are going to be on this nodal axis is a better way to say it. It's AXIS, the nodal axis of Taurus to Scorpio, where we want more safety. If we're not safe, we can't build, and we want to be out of crisis. But then when it comes to Mother Earth, right, she's ruled by Venus, and Venus rules Taurus. Venus is clocking her way towards an exact conjunction with the North Node. And the South Node in Scorpio can bring crisis, and we do have to be very careful where we're living and where we are focusing our money, because we're talking money, joint resources. Personal money is Taurus. Joint resources, your money you share with others, is Scorpio. So, yeah, just, think of those things when you're trying to decide where to buy a home or sell a home or whatever. What I keep getting over and over and over again is to think very, very, very long term, because Neptune will eventually, I think 2025 or so, move into it's either 2025 or 2026. I have to look that up too, but it'll move into Aries. And we will even have this, Jupiter will catch up here to move from Aries to Taurus, and that can be very, very healing. So the work that we're doing now to heal ourselves, to heal our soul. So again, remember, Capricorn has everything to do with integrity and being in your own authority and your ability to know that you can manifest, that you are a creator. That is the nature of who we each are. So think long term about what you want to create. And if we're working that and we're doing very well with it, we can have much, much more energy and power and avert the crisis type of experience that will be coming into these dirty politicians. Just watch. Mitch McConnell fell again. And I have his chart over here, or his chart and his transits. I forgot about that. I don't know if it was about 6 p.m. that it happened. I'm just guessing, because he was going to a hotel in order to have dinner. But as you can see, and we don't have an exact birth time, so this time is what I rectified, because remember when he fell off his porch, or fell on his porch and broke his shoulder back in like February of 2019. Anyway, between looking at his transits then and using my intuition, I clocked his birth time at 5:38 p.m. But as you can see, his, he's a Pisces sun. Saturn is just now transiting on his sun, so he's going to have limitations. You can also see that Uranus is up here has crossed over his midheaven and is in his 10th house of career. Uranus represents big change, and it's crossing over, it will soon cross over his Mars, so this would be change in his life force, change in his direction in life, change in his motivations. So whether he leaves the planet or leaves the Senate, I wouldn't be surprised if either happened, especially because Pluto's in his 6th house, 6th house of health and service. So we're talking big, deep, drastic changes that could bring through more empowerment for him. I mean, the one thing I can say about him is that I am absolutely impressed that he's holding up against Fox News and he's holding up for Biden. And he was not one that voted to overturn the election. And he has always said that, the insurrection was an awful thing that happened. So maybe there's been some turnaround with him. But in the past, he has certainly lived up to his stubbornness. His stellium in Taurus here, Uranus, Saturn, and Mars, where I will not move, and his moon in Taurus. Now, in a healthy sense, Taurus can be about bliss and happiness in the body, but he didn't have that experience this lifetime, and he has done nothing but just dug his heels in and has caused, well, I mean, life could be so much different for all of us had he not done what he has done or did do when Obama was president and all the years prior to that. I think he's had, 7 terms as senator? Maybe it's more. It's hard to remember. I have so many numbers in my head sometimes. So anyways, back to us personally. Just keep working on your power to create more safety and protection and love and happiness in your life and your own personal security. Be faithful to yourself. Do everything you can to let go of needing anything based on appearance values, which has to do with the house, the money, the car, the whatever. Just let that go. That has nothing to do with who you truly are. But the more you're into keeping your body healthy, doing everything you can to, nurture yourself. Just think Venus, think very Venusian. New ways to empower yourself by breaking away from the status quo and moving towards what brings you bliss and happiness. And that, doing just that, will bring through the wisdom from all your past lifetimes, and especially this lifetime, because everything's always brought forward, right? Well, as much as we can handle in one lifetime. But as you handle it and grow, you can bring through your gifts from your past lifetimes as well. So anyway, with Scorpio, we are in the territory of transformation, which Scorpio is ruled by Pluto. So we have a natural square here going on. Squares are nothing more than tension fields of which we can grow, of which we can create strength. So anyway, I just wanted to show you the Jupiter conjunct Chiron. I noticed the dates on Saturday. Notice it's 10 p.m., so we're not on Sunday yet, but it's okay because you guys get this on Thursday for my members, and Thursday ad-free, no ads on any of my membership videos, but anyway, Friday morning for you guys, Friday midnight. And so March 11th, 10 p.m., you'll see we have this exact, actually maybe I'll go ahead and use the green, Jupiter conjunct Chiron. So remember, Jupiter has to do with healing, but it can blow things up. It can expand things. So if there's any challenges, it would be because of this double quincunx to the moon. This is why I wanted to talk about this. And the moon would have to do with being in Scorpio, would have to do with connecting the dots to go as deep as you possibly can into your fear of betrayal. All fear of betrayal comes from the fear of betraying yourself. Everything comes back to the self. Fear of secrets getting out. If you're a dirty politician, yeah, there's going to be trouble there. Or if you're Tucker Carlson, even more is going to, but they just keep doubling down and lying. And that is the Mars. So speaking again to the Mars square Neptune. And the sun is there too, but this will be here for Sunday as well. So I'll talk more about it later. But just for this evening, or moving into Saturday, because this will be the approaching energy that will come to a peak point by 10 p.m. Saturday night, and this can be a great healing of your deepest wounding that can bring through your deepest gifts, as long as you're willing to trust yourself and allow some intense feelings to come up, and allow trust betrayal issues to come up, and let that go. Process them through and then let them go. And when we do things, every time we do things like that, every time we do any healing work, we circumvent an outer experience needing to happen, because it's set up, the universe is set up to bring us the experiences that we need to heal. So if you're doing your healing work ahead of time, you won't have to have those painful experiences come up. So, or from the outside, you won't have to have them mirrored back to you from the outside. So let me go ahead and move forward. Otherwise, I'll end up just sitting here on this chart, and that doesn't help for the week. Okay, so Sunday morning. Normally I started at 6 a.m., but I moved it to 9 because I wanted to see when the moon exactly, it started to oppose Uranus, because that can be a real emotional awakening. And the finger of fate came in here as well too. So let's talk about that first. So let's start with the moon. Remember, Pluto squaring the nodes will be here all week and all the way through to the end of, what did I say? What is it, the end of the year? Oops. Getting my times mixed up already. Yeah, December 7th. Yeah. Woo. Okay. So talk about that tension field for growth. But, oh wait, wrong color there. Hold on. So what I want to focus on now is these two quincunxes to the moon. So the moon's at the apex, and we actually have two sextiles, which are two avenues of opportunity coming from Eris, that is conjunct Venus. Actually, I should say Venus is conjunct Eris, because Eris has just been sitting there for the last, in Aries no less, for the last 550 some years. But to Mars. So Venus and Mars, notice it's 24 degrees, 24 degrees. We're all in an exact, this aspect of the architect, I'm sorry, not architect. This aspect is the finger of fate, finger of God, finger of destiny, whatever you want to call it. Wherein in this particular one, but any finger of fate, I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought there. Finger of fate, finger of God, whatever you want to call it, is a very tight orb. It's less than 3 degrees. You can see the moon's at 21, but it's going to build to that exact, throughout the day on Sunday, that exact, actually within hours, it'll be an exact 24, 24, and 24, right? And with the moon in Scorpio, again, it's going deeply. We can have a paradigm shift in between Saturday night and Sunday, let's say noon, and then spend Sunday integrating or enjoying the new shift that comes in, right? And the shift is between Venus, what we want, and in Aries it is independence, and then Mars, how we're going to talk about it, and the actions, especially in the realms of communication, as to what we're willing to do. These are opportunities. And then as we have our courage, and we've picked up that courage from Eris as Venus crossed over and is now sitting on the other side. And she'll start moving to, close together. We'll have Venus conjunct Uranus soon. So, but anyway, for now, the main focus for today is on the opportunity to move forward with your masculine and feminine powers completely merged as one. And in the spirit world, there is no separation between the divine masculine and the divine feminine. It is everything is one. Thinking, feeling, experience happens like Shazam. It just happens. It's just the way it is. Venus can bring in positive pleasure and unity, and Mars can get us going in a new direction if we're thinking correctly. And the adjustments, the two adjustments coming from those planets to take advantage of that opportunity hinges on how deeply you will go into your wisdom, how deeply you will go into trusting yourself, how deeply you know that you don't have to 100% trust other people as long as you trust yourself. It's kind of like a mom and the kid, and mom knows the kid's telling a fib, but also knows that the kid's just trying to keep out of trouble. So we don't need our kid to be perfectly trustworthy because we trust ourselves. Same way with relationships. We all have good BS meters, right? And if we trust that, we're going to be just fine. So remember, and also, with Pluto holding space up here for that transformation to manifest what you want is also connecting to Venus. Right here, that square, there's that tension field. And again, back to the wisdom of the past, right? And so that's, I absolutely love that that's there. What else for this? Well, let's focus in on the moon. I didn't look ahead any more than the Pluto square to see what lasts all week, except for I know for sure let's talk about that quickly. The other backdrop that we're sitting with is Venus squaring Mars. And I talked about that last week, but I'll reiterate again. Just think in terms of did I just say Venus square Mars? I need to say that it's Neptune. Neptune can bring in self-doubt and confusion, especially about your direction in life. And you can be having experiences where your spirit is directly guiding you somewhere, but you're afraid to go because Mars can be so much about survival. And especially with the North Node still in Taurus and Uranus in Taurus, there can be a lot of soul shocks coming up, and that's especially true with the opposition to the moon, right? Uranus represents soul shocks. It also represents awakening. And in Taurus, we're talking survival. We're talking self-preservation. Like, will I have what I need if I trust my guides, and if I trust my spirit, which is trusting your feelings in the direction that you really want to go? Will I be safe, basically, is the question. Well, with today, with the Sun conjunct Neptune, and tomorrow and the next day will be too, and the day after that, you can see, 21 to 24 degrees. We have a good 3 days of the Sun also squaring Mars. So you might be going through some self-doubt. You might be going through some trying to get clear about your direction. So allow yourself to have that time. Hang out in your self-doubt for a while. I guarantee you will get so sick of yourself that you will move on. And I'm also here to tell you that your self-doubt is the greatest darkness you will ever go through. Ever. It is the opposite of trusting yourself and trusting your spirit. And it is often the process is like this. We're trying to figure out if we trust others, and then if we think we can, then we kind of glom on in relationship with them and like, oh, okay, we're stronger together and we trust each other and all that, right? Okay, so, but then what happens if suddenly they betray you? that throws you back onto yourself. The same way that if your parents betray you as an infant or a little one growing up, you are thrown back into yourself. So why not, as adults, just go ahead and come back to yourself. Don't doubt the good, positive feelings that are coming through. Don't doubt that divine guidance, divine mind that is trying to get through to you and lead you in a new direction, which is, of course, what we have going on with this stellium in Pisces. Saturn will eventually catch up to Neptune, and I'll talk about that when we get there. Otherwise, I'm just throwing too much at you in 1 week. But anyway, with Mercury and the Sun talking to Neptune, so the Sun is shining the spotlight of Pisces saying, hey, I know you've been wanting to do this. It's time. We can do it. And will you devote yourself to what really matters to you most? What would bring you the greatest happiness, the greatest experience of something much bigger, much broader, without the limitations? The limitations will come in later. The testing will come in later with Saturn. But for now, it's important that we put the spotlight on thinking with unlimited beliefs. Just pull it all out. Just pull it all out. Let go of anything less than your creativity that wants to come through. And we're talking higher creativity, straight from your spirit, straight from source. Neptune is source. So there are no limitations to source energy that can come through today. Right? That's basically it. And there's no limitation to your ability to communicate with your guides, guardian angels, birth angels, whatever you want to call them. And personally, what I like to do is assign. I like to give them jobs to help me out. Then that way I can, because my job is to work for them basically. But if I have committed, and as I have committed to do that, they keep showing up for me. So I have, a group of guides that I ask to heal my body when I go to sleep at night. I always call in the forces of love and God, but you call in whoever you want. The higher the better. I do not call in ETs. I do not call in any. You can call in any entity you want, like Archangel Michael or Kuan Yin, or I used to call in Anandamayama because she was so beautiful when it came to, feminine grace. Anyway, you can call in a very high, masterful type of being, but I don't know, unless you want to channel an ET and that's your thing, then go ahead. But that's not my thing. So I like going to the realms where spirit has created the love, and I don't know that came from an extraterrestrial realm. I don't know that yet. I'm not sure. So I don't go towards anything that I'm not sure of. But if you want to try that out and you work with that, and let us know. Let me know. Enlighten me, please. I have no judgments here. I'm just telling you what I personally do. I also have guides that help me. I have astrological guides that help me with these readings. I have cartomancy guides that help me with those readings, right? I have guides that help me with everything around my home. So you can. My point is you can call in support, and they need to be invited. Versus the little negative guides, or not guides. They're not guides, but the little negative specialists. They just come in uninvited. So you can have a whole team of guides that keep them out. And the reason I'm bringing that up is because Neptune and Pisces, and with this stellium in Pisces, each and every one of us, we are all going to be much more sensitive than we've ever been before. That's, empathic, sensitive. We are going to be in some, if you're meditating, you are going to connect with some transcendental realms. You're going to move through realms, if you're meditating, realms of not trusting and confusion, and it can be kind of nebulous, but you just keep grounding. The trick is to keep grounding in your body. And with every breath, you can spiritualize matter. You can bring more spirit into your matter, your body. And that helps to heal. And notice how Jupiter's on the other side of Chiron now. That helps to heal any deepest wounding and conflicts. Because Chiron in Aries is about your matter. So we can learn, Chiron can teach us how to heal our relationship to our bodies and our ability to survive and be here. And remember, Mars rules Aries. So this stellium in Aries here is ruled by Mars in Gemini. And then Gemini, see how connecting the dots here, Gemini is ruled by Mercury. So what they're talking about, or what we're talking about, and our guides are talking about with us, has to do with new ways of learning about spirit and how spirit works. So that's why I'm focusing in on that. Let's see, what else? With the opposition here with Uranus, and to the moon this morning, and I would say, 15 to 21, even very early this morning, you could be waking up from a dream, because the moon, definitely brings in dream states. And, oh, my goodness, with the sun and with all this in Pisces, and with Neptune in Pisces just holding space there, expect wild dreams or very revealing dreams. If you go to sleep with an intention to know something, it can come through in dream time. You can have your answer in dream time. I once had an guidance on how to use the Excel program. It was like way back in 2008, and I was having trouble with it. I just couldn't get it. There weren't any tutorials that I could find. But I didn't know much about YouTube in those days. So anyhow, I got the guidance in dream time as to, you can do this one thing, and it changes everything, basically. So, but anyway, Uranus can bring through something very enlightening, and in Taurus it can be very practical. That's the reason I was thinking of that Excel spreadsheet, guidance that I got in dream time with the moon. So pay attention, keep that dream journal by your bed. You really have to write things down. And just a little snippet of a dream can be something very valuable to work with. And especially because the moon is in this configuration to the finger of fate, it can definitely lead you on your path in the right direction. So this is really beautiful for the day. Let's see. Mercury sextile, man, this gets better and better. Okay, so you guys know sextiles are opportunities. So there's an opportunity coming from Mercury to Uranus, which brings in divine mind. Mercury in connection to Uranus is divine mind and enlightenment. It is our communications, thoughts, the way we think, the way we connect the dots, the way we learn. So we can learn about some very practical things from spirit. Uranus will help us be free in some way. It can lead to a breakthrough. It can be something shocking too. We could wake up to something on the news that's like, whoa, especially with an opposition here to the moon, because the moon can rule the public, or it does rule the public. And then with Uranus, it can bring through changes, sometimes suddenly, but they've been building, right? It can bring through a reversal. There could be a reversal of fortune that comes through. We could get some, because this is cooking on Sunday, something could be happening behind the scenes that we won't know about until Monday. And it could be, maybe there's some big dirt, news dump on a dirty politician or Fox News or any of those anchors, so-called news anchors, who are really just nothing more than like celebrities for the dark side. God. And especially because, you know, with Neptune and Pisces, we're in cult territory, right? We're in escapist territory. We're in addiction territory. And with the square to Mars, we're talking news dumps and people who are just motivated to hear what they want to hear, whether or not it's the truth. So what you always want to do is ask for the truth. You know, there's your personal truth about what happened to you in your lifetime. And then there's absolute truth as to the way the universe is constructed to help you work through whatever you need to work through and come back to your spirit. So we have our impersonal love, which is Neptune, and our personal love, which is related to Venus. And all these things are connecting. It's amazing. So, okay, so lots of movement forward, lots of support to do that. Let me move forward because I'm thinking, well, of course, you know, this triple trine here to the moon. Again, the public and you connecting the dots in your life as to what you deeply want to go for and experience. Trines are usually harmonious energies. Sometimes, though, they're just connections. And now remember, too, Neptune rules all types of media. Social media, news, movies, all of that. Maybe this has to do with the Oscars, right? So, because that's coming up. So let me go ahead and move forward because these other aspects I know are going to be the same. And let's tune into that first, the ones that I have not spoken to. And they are Saturn trining Mars. So again, a nice, easy flow of information that we can build upon that pulls out all the stops, you know, from the past. And the reason I say that is because it also connects to the past of the South Node. South Node is the past. So I have a feeling that there is going to be a dissolution, a dissolving type of energy of the lies of the past. And then we will be feeling on some levels like, yeah, of course, I knew that. We all knew that. We all knew they were lying, but we didn't know, we didn't see, we didn't get to read those texts. And they're hilarious. Wait, you know what? I think, let me look on my phone real quick in my photos because I think there was one that I saved that actually was cracking me up. Did I? No. I don't know what I did with it. It was a text from you know what? I know where I saw it on Stephen Colbert. It was a text from Tucker, of course. I just can't remember who he was talking to, but it was actually really funny. And it had to do with him, of course, he passionately hated Trump. Probably still does, but you know, he's never going to say that on air because they don't mind talking and saying lies just to make money. That's the bottom line. And that is where we are going to be happy to have all of these communications coming out rapidly. Venus in Aries, rapidly. That will lead us into the future. And hopefully, hopefully some people who are Fox fans will get the message. Maybe they'll finally get the memo. Man. So, okay. And you can see everything's the same here. We're just cooking away, closer to Neptune. But now Neptune has actually moved a degree. It was at 24, wasn't it? Yeah, now it's at 25. So Neptune has finally moved one whole degree. Moves very slowly. Still the three squares to Mars So again, trust yourself and go in that direction that you're wanting to go. In terms of Gemini, Gemini is very curious. So let yourself be curious. Let yourself boldly explore. And that would bring in the polar opposite of Gemini, which is Sag. And the moon is in Sag. We have an inconjunct to the North Node. So there will be an adjustment that needs to be made if you want to go. You're going to have to let go of the past, but the opportunity was there with the moon going through Scorpio, right? We had that opportunity. Now, with the moon in Sag, we actually have, probably we're feeling more free. Maybe there's travel plans that are going to be made. For sure, it's about speaking up and having faith in yourself, because you have a whole new meaning in life. And you're not going to like it if somebody tries to hold you down. You're not going to like it if there's religious dogma coming through. And it surely is. So there could be, it's possible that there's some new movement towards the future. Of course, the nodes in Taurus and Scorpio have been the issue with women's reproductive rights, and that has not, that hasn't stopped. We're still fighting. The moon is also squaring Saturn, so of course we're fighting these oppressive structures, Saturn structures, and they want us to submit, and we're here saying, yeah, nice try. I don't think so. It's really, really, really hard to let go of something you've had for 50 years when it comes to feeling like a normal human being rather than a farmer having control over his animals. Like, women are not animals. We're not chattel. So, yeah, okay. With Mercury semi-square the North Node, there will be talks about that and anything else. And with Chiron and Jupiter together semi-squaring Saturn, again, individual rights, individual healing, based on the fact that we know we matter, and we don't like being held back or left out in Aries, or with Saturn, with any fire sign, man, it's just like, no, we're not taking that. Get rid of that noise. And with Saturn, we're talking government and any other structures in place. And because it's the square to the moon is squaring in Sag, we're talking religious dogma. Yeah. Okay, so let's move forward into Tuesday. And the moon is still in Sag, but we have the exact Mars square Neptune. Notice 2504, 2504. And that happens at 4:03 p.m. Pacific time, March 14th. Isn't that St. Patty's Day? The Ides of March in a whole new way. And you can see the moon at 22 degrees is in an applying exact opposition. All right, so let's talk about that. So the moon, of course, is the feminine. It's the home. It's the family. It's our roots. It's our past. It connects the dots. It intuits. It wants to connect into something that matters in the sign of Sag. And then when we have the connection to Mars in Gemini, what's happening there is that we're learning and exploring what really matters to us. People will be exploring their belief systems. People will be reading and hearing and understanding, and much more curious to listen to other people's stories about what they've been through, especially when it comes to women's reproductive rights, because remember, all these larger planetary themes and the nodes are all speaking to what is compassionate, what is caring, what is right, what is sensitive, what brings through individual rights, and of course, everything's on the table when it comes to women's reproductive rights. And immigration, that is another just very painful issue that I don't know enough about to speak wholeheartedly, other than I feel so bad for many people. And we're talking all over the world. So we have a double aspect double trine up here to the moon from Venus. Venus is the feminine in Aries that wants to move forward, has picked up all the courage and steam from Eris. Jupiter is climbing right up behind. And then we also have, 24, we have Mars in a sextile to Eris. So there's the aspect of the architect with Venus at the bucket point. So I'm feeling like Tuesday I keep feeling there's something about women's rights. And it's not just women's rights. We're talking LGBTQ, we're talking the Marriage Equality Act that was passed. All of these things are on the table. And another aspect to this, because we're in that polarity of Gemini and Sag, could be learning and higher learning. This could be, DeFuhrer, DeSantis, wanting to run the schools in Florida. Like, he thinks he knows the better way to go, right? Yeah, well, the kids want to just learn. And they're smarter than him. Your average teenager is smarter than Ron DeSantis. So that's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it. Okay, let's look at all the other aspects are the same. The trine to the south node with Saturn and to Mars, that just further reinforces everything that I've already said. And on the personal level, you just boldly go for what you want and work on building. Remember that Jupiter expands and Saturn brings in the form. Jupiter and Saturn are the builders of the zodiac. Neptune holds space for the greater vision. Uranus helps to break up what does not serve us anymore. And notice how Uranus has moved forward one more degree. It's now at 16. And then Pluto just holds space for our souls to continually transform and to come into the power of who we truly are without the darkness. We can let go of the darkness. It doesn't serve us. Only love serves. And with Mars in Gemini, we're serving with our minds, our hands, our arms. Gemini rules the shoulders, the lungs, and hands, and eye-hand coordination. And with Sag rules the hips and thighs, but it's also the realm of being able to pass on the wisdom, the stories, the intuition, the things that we need to hear. So that's why often I refer to Gemini as being the third house, as being, like all school leading up to high school, and then the ninth house, the Sag house, being, and also ruled by Jupiter, as being, graduating from high school and into college, and then any higher learning beyond that helps to heal and solidify your belief system, which can go through great change if you have, let's pretend you have Capricorn in your ninth house, and Pluto's been transiting through your ninth house. I remember going through that. It was, it was very transformative. It's the best way I can explain it. You believe in something new by the end of it. And another thing with Sag is that we don't like, when the moon's in Sag, we are not going to like being held back. Same thing, especially with all this Aries energy, this fire energy here. We're not going to like to be held back. We've got that free flow of energy, and we know the direction we want to go. And with Venus, if we just keep trusting this new place inside of us that is wanting to unify with our spirits, and align your physical energy with that, and that may be to be more quiet and more self-reflective before you take action. Or it may be, okay, it's time to go. I've been sitting on this for too long. If you find yourself feeling angry all the time, that's a good sign that your energy isn't aligned with what your spirit is trying to bring you through. It can be like a form of resistance that you're working through, but give yourself that time. Okay, so then Wednesday, and I clocked it at 4:16 p.m. on Wednesday, we have the Sun exactly conjunct Neptune. I wanted to get that time in there, and especially because it's in that, again, that triple square to Mars. So that's a lot of energy coming from Mars to Mercury, the Sun, and Neptune. So everything that I spoke to at the beginning when we started is now amplified, because it was an approaching square or 3 approaching squares to Mars, and now it's exact, pretty much exact. We're just talking about 20 minutes difference here, 25 minutes. And let's see, we can also see this sextile here from Saturn to Venus, and then back to the South Node. So that gives me the feeling of solid relationships, opportunities. There's an opportunity on Wednesday to have the formation of some solid relationships. Or maybe it's just a much more solid relationship between your human self and your spirit that connects back to the wisdom of all the experience you've had before in so many past lifetimes. And then same thing you can see coming from the moon up here at 6 degrees of Capricorn and connecting to the South Node, and then also to the North Node. So the moon is at that bucket point of building something solid. When it comes to, what I think it's been is a lead up to deeply go through whatever we needed to go through to release the wisdom of the past, and then getting more into the direction that we want to go with Sag. And now with the moon in Capricorn, I feel like this is the hard work to actually get it done. So whatever your project has been, I think the hard work is going to really come through on Wednesday. And because it's 4:16 p.m., of course, the lead up to this all day, Wednesday, is there, which is the reason I wanted to get that exact time. And you can see the trine is still from Saturn to Mars, so lots of energy being exerted in order to build something solid, something that lasts. Think of Saturn as being, the concrete foundation or the stem walls, of which you can build your house on, and something that lasts for a lifetime of a house. And in Pisces, we're going to have this Saturn going through Pisces for almost 3 whole years. Let's see. Yeah, the other transits are still the same. Nothing hitting Uranus today. And of course, you can see Pluto still squaring those nodes. So let's move forward into Thursday. Mercury, Neptune, Sun, Mars, and Venus all have aspects to Pluto. How do you like them apples? At 10:06 a.m. Pacific, you can see, oh my goodness, 25 degrees, 25 degrees here. So triple here, Saturn to Venus is still there. Yeah, okay, hold on. Let me change colors here. Again, back to, so this is an even tighter square. Yeah, man, if Wednesday doesn't get you going, Thursday will. And if Wednesday and Thursday don't get you going, I bet you're going to have, if you're not on your creative self-expression by this point, you're probably either developing some very, very, now that's another way this could play out. You're either working creatively, or you're working creatively on another level with Saturn here in, again, that aspect of the architect to the south node and to Venus. You could be working creatively in meditation. Meditation is an act of creation. It is. So you could be even creating with Saturn, think of structure and form. It could be creating a vision board that helps you attach with your sight into a new realm that you're wanting to bring in. And with the moon trining Uranus, again, there's an emotional connection to manifesting that can be brand new, that can bring something through quickly that you've been working for or working on, and suddenly it comes through because it can liberate you. It can help you break free. It can also be an intuitive flash of insight that helps you, like those aha moments. It's like, oh yeah, why didn't I think of that before? I do that all the time. And it comes when it comes, and but yeah, I don't know. If you're anything like me, you'll be like, dang, I wish I would have done this before. Wish I would have done this so much sooner, right? Like, imagine if we all knew about YouTube in 2005, I think, when they started. And if anybody has been on YouTube since then, and you have seen the evolution of the platform itself, please, comment and let us know what it was like at first. So yeah, so all the other aspects are the same. This Venus here opposing the South Node, this brings through the that something new that you've been wanting. And notice that 29 degrees, just a little bit longer, and Venus will be into Taurus. But everything connecting back to to Pluto. Just look at that. This here, so this would be the Sun, Mercury, Neptune conglomeration here. And then Mars and Venus connection here, which we were talking about. But also, no, hold on. That is actually, Venus, 20, well, yeah, because Mars is going forward, but Venus does move faster. This is actually Eris, so that courage, this is good. Okay, so the courage, stepping into your courage to go the direction you want to go will bring in more opportunities to actually experience it, more movement. The courage will bring in even more movement. It's like, think of maybe you hurt your foot or your ankle or your knee, or maybe you even had to have surgery, and you're finally out of the boot. And now there's that opportunity to move forward in a brand new way. So you might have to be careful and go slow with it, but at least there's the movement now. At least it can happen now, whatever that is. And that is especially true with that Saturn trine Mars still. And Venus, here we go, trying to find the right color. Here's the important part here too. Venus, see, that's 29 exact, and then we have 29 exact here to Pluto. So Venus exactly squaring Pluto. And the North Node almost exact. And Venus is really cooking towards that North Node. So that, we will be bringing that together at some point. So Venus squaring Pluto can bring through some intense experience of, this is my way, this is my life, I'm going the direction I want to go, and I will be, no matter how much work it takes, I will be not only integrating the past into the future, because of course this is, still, don't forget that square, the T-square, right? Don't forget that. That's till December 7th, right? A long time. But Venus is there to help us. Venus wants to unify some bold new plan to go in the direction that you need to go, because it's your path, and we each have to be more daring, and we have to initiate, blaze our own trails. And because it's our path, so it's possible that you're doing something so brand new, no one has ever done it before. It's very possible. But you have to go wherever you need to go, and powerful Pluto will be helping you, and you'll be integrating the past in a very powerful way into the future with something new. I love that. Okay, so now let's focus in on the moon. So notice the moon, of course, 17 degrees Capricorn here, is in a semi-square to Saturn. So the action will need to be taken, otherwise you won't feel good today. And then action is also going to need to be taken because Saturn to Jupiter and Chiron as well. So we have these connections, these two connections here, right? So action on your healing path to expand your healing, action to create more form, a new form in your life, new with Aries, a new form in your life that's much bigger and dissolves the limitations of the past. Okay, so let's go to Friday. And Friday we have Venus into Taurus at 3:35 p.m., March 16th, and you can see Venus here, 0 degrees of Taurus. And of course, it's, still in the square to Pluto, and oh my goodness, to have the moon conjunct Pluto, that will be very intense. And Venus squaring Pluto is intense. It could be an intense relationship, or it could just be the intensity within yourself to go the direction you want to go. Taurus has that quality, it's fixed earth. And with Capricorn, it's cardinal earth. So cardinal earth wants to move, fixed earth wants to stay. But because Venus is newly there into Taurus, on one level, she's super comfortable being there because it's her natural sign. Venus rules Taurus and Libra. But notice how Venus is, of course, in this opposition to the South Node, as it has been all week. But now it's, look at this, it's just basically 3 degrees away from the North Node. So we're all headed towards the North Node in Taurus, which is safety, security, happiness, being very oriented in our bodies, much more grounded in our bodies. And Venus is there to help in a very natural, easy, wonderful way. And there may be much more empowerment. Even if it's intense, it could be good. Sometimes an intense experience in your body is, well, of course, good. It can, bring, this type of a transit can bring through the ability to be much, much more empowered in a very natural, simple way. And it can help us, because when it's in the body, we get into those realms where we understand the simple truth. And this could be the simple truth for your own personal life. And then also with the moon trining Uranus, my goodness, there's that connection, right, to an earthly connection to manifesting from the divine mind within you. The universe is within each one of us. In fact, it's within the nucleus of every cell in our body. That's how we're hooked up to creation. And then, of course, the double trine coming from Saturn to the south node in Mars, that is the same. Eris sextile Mars is still there. Saturn sextile Venus is still there, and that aspect to the architect. So everything is the same. There's just that added benefit of the moon bumping up against Pluto. And the moon will help you get there. Just remember, Capricorn is all about hard work, responsibility, self-control, putting yourself in the line of duty to yourself, or being responsible for the commitments that you've made in the past. Saturn rules Capricorn, and we're talking commitment. So there can be this greater commitment to your spirit, and then with the trine to the south node, that would bring in all the wisdom from the past, and you can't go back, right? You know where you want to go, and because of that, and all the experience you've had in the past, you can't go backwards anymore. So this could be finally like making it through an addiction, and you're done with it. Maybe this is your last path or last pass, on that path, and or maybe it's because that's the thing is when we go through addictions, they're only in place to numb out the pain, right? They're self-medications. And when they don't work anymore, or they're not needed because you've gone through the emotional pain, which is, what Scorpio is all about. Actually, any of the water signs, but with Saturn, with this whole lineup, with this whole stellium in Pisces, it can just dissolve the pain of the past because you've gone through it and you're not afraid to go through it again. That's the thing is, if you're not afraid to feel all your feelings, you are going to grow so fast. It's the key to everything, is to have the courage, Aries courage, to feel all of your feelings. And when you do that, especially, your emotional pain, I'm not talking about I'm not saying you have to go through surgery or anything like that without numbing, without having anesthesia. That's ridiculous. I'm talking about emotional pain. Emotional pain is tied to the past, and the way to break free from that is to go through it, and it doesn't scare you anymore. Okay, so I think that's good for Thursday. Let's go to Friday. On Friday, the moon is exactly at 7:14 a.m. Pacific time. The moon is exactly conjunct with Pluto. So everything I was talking about for yesterday is now at the fever pitch point, and there could be some release of any powerful issues that held you back in the past, and now you can freely move forward with a whole new experience and sense of self. This could be a homecoming to yourself. Because whenever there's a really strong planet in one sign, it's always helpful to embrace its polar opposite, and Capricorn's polar opposite is, of course, Cancer. And this is the way I teach astrology in my lessons, that to embrace the polar opposite is to bring in the best of both worlds. And Cancer brings in, that's our realm of the family, the home, our emotional security, and the past, what we've gone through, the environment that we grew up in, and where we weren't cared for, where we weren't encouraged, where we couldn't let go, or still as adults can't let go of a certain thing because we haven't gotten yet in touch with our real needs. And but as adults, we grow. And all we really have to know is what the real needs are, which is, of course, for pleasure, for connection, to be safe as a little one growing up. And then as we have all of that, so we need to be seen and heard and understood. And as we have that, as we've gone through the pain of the past where those needs weren't met, and as we've learned how to meet them as adults, then that turns into our creative self-expression. So if you're feeling confused, or you're feeling that you're in this nebulous realm of creation and you don't know which way to go, just keep going for what you want. Just be like a kid again. The wisdom of the inner child, right? So, okay, let's see. The T-square to Pluto and the nodes is further emphasized with the moon also. And, you can see right here, everything's still the same. Venus has already moved forward almost 1 whole degree towards the north node, so that's continuing to happen. Yeah, let's go ahead and move into Saturday. So Saturday we have Mercury that has moved into Aries, but it takes until 9:35 p.m. And right here. So Mercury is, look what happened just in one. Mercury went from 26 degrees. Well, it took about, day and a half. Well, let's see. Yeah, 7 in the morning to 12, 17 hours, something like that. But from 26 degrees Pisces, and then here we are with it at 0 degrees Aries. So that's how fast Mercury moves. And Venus again has clocked through another whole degree, right? And Venus moving up to connecting with Uranus is going to be wonderful. I'll talk about that next week, but there could be some really good breakthroughs there. Hopefully for women's rights and for safety and maybe gun control, maybe, well, I'll talk about it when we get there next week. But, okay, so the moon is already in Aquarius, so there could be some breakthroughs emotionally and some integration that can happen because of the willingness to communicate and exchange new ideas with Mars there. And let's just bring these two together because they'll be there before Sunday morning. So the moon, it is kind of compatible energy. And now the moon to Saturn can be kind of depressing sometimes. But with the moon in Aquarius, well, on the worst sense, or on the worst levels, this could be an emotional need for my way or the highway, and for some people who are feeling like they know everything, and some just bigoted type of ideas. And connected to Mars, that there can be a spin, because remember, we're still in the Neptune square Mars, right? And with the Sun and Mercury, we still have the triple square. All of this is still there. But now Mercury has some new ideas, and Mercury wants to go really fast. Mercury rules the mind and messages and the news. Mercury can link patterns together, but in Aries it can go way too fast. But maybe it's been sitting in Neptune or Neptunian Pisces land enough that it's like, okay, I'm done with that. Let's go. Mercury helps us to analyze, and in Aries it can be something brand new that can actually create a win-win situation. But because of the Sun and Neptune still in Pisces and squaring Mars, and Mercury still squaring Mars, we could be in for a fight. And I'm saying that politically. And it could also be the type of energy where, let's pretend this is it. Let's pretend you've been you've been listening to a family member, or you've been talking to a friend and letting them spout on and say all their stuff about how great Trump is and how great, and blah, 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 blah. And now, with this triple square to Mars, you're like, I'm done. I am not listening to this anymore. We are either going to agree to not have either religious or political conversations, or we're not talking, or I'm not talking. Basically, you're going to threaten to hang up, or threaten to stop the conversation, or just stop and set a boundary. And that is especially true, and I want everyone to get this. Please don't miss this. Saturn in Pisces, especially with the sextile to Eris, and moving towards the sextile to the North Node as well, and connecting to the past in Scorpio. Scorpio can dig its heels in. Taurus can definitely stay in that energy of, fixed. Like, I want this, and this is where I'm staying, and I'm going to protect myself. And you can let go of submission. Saturn in Pisces will bring up submission issues, right? Oh, I watched this movie last night called Women Talking, and I'm watching it, and I can't say too much about it because it's very revealing. You'll start out thinking that you're watching something from olden times, but I'll just say this one little thing. It's like a religious community out in the boonies somewhere. I have no idea where. And you think you're listening to something from the 1800s. Well, it's 2010. And I'm not going to say anything else about the rest of it, but I really, really recommend watching it. It's on Amazon Prime for free, so you don't have to rent it. If you have that. Oh, goodness. Oh, so lucky I didn't. There, okay. Well, lucky I didn't have a call or a text. I had my phone still on. So anyway, submission can be a pattern with Saturn in Pisces that you're going to learn to break. The more you protect yourself, the more you have strong, healthy boundaries in your life, the more sensitive you can be on the most subtle levels of spirit. And if you're like me, you've probably had lots of experiences of dancing with darkness with friends and relatives and all of that. Those were all tests. Saturn will test. So Saturn will test your boundaries in Pisces. And the moon in Aquarius there could just be some conversation that will make you either think in a different way, or you'll be the catalyst that makes them think in a different way. But damn well, get your boundaries straight, please. And that's especially the case with this sextile to powerful Pluto. Boy, it's almost at like 2959. Because remember, of course, we will bump into the first little transit of Pluto into Aquarius on March 23rd. So we're only 5 days away. Wow. But the moon is giving us a taste first. So the moon in Aquarius we will want to be thinking in new ways. We will want to, it could connect to some scientific breakthrough or a higher degree of scientific breakthrough. Remember when we had Saturn in Aquarius, we had that first fusion breakthrough, fusion energy. And, it was just once, and it was just for a second or a split second, but it can happen again if they could just keep it going. But anyway, any person in your life that is racist or talking in terrible ways about, and if a person's racist, they're also going to be anti-feminine, anti-woman, anti-anybody being equal to them, and they're going to think that they're better than. They're not, but that's what it's all about when we're talking racism. They're also going to be very anti-Mother Earth and anti, again, anybody. They're just wanting to be at the top, right? Well, that doesn't work. If we want to survive, we all have to be in this together. So there's that, right? So hopefully there's some new scientific breakthroughs that come through during the day, with Mercury, moving out of that last degree of Pisces, by the evening being in Aries, and the moon cooking its way, through those different degrees of Aquarius all day long. So we could end Saturday night with having learned something new and broken through in a new way. And if it's only to set a boundary against anybody who you've been listening to and trying to take in their point of view, and nothing has changed. It's like, rah, 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 rah. Nothing has changed. And if they're still on the side of Trump and the GQP, probably they're not going to change except for to go through something in a painful way. In the future, because they're not voting even for their own best interests. So why listen to that? You have better things to do. You have things that you want to create. And you're probably, with Mercury and Aries, going to get even more guidance to help you to just move forward and know that Mercury is now cooking its way towards Chiron, and it moves quickly towards, within a couple of weeks it'll be in Taurus. So just think about that. Going quickly, getting things together, learning to move forward, to just assert your unique individual self, and healing is coming. Integration will happen. So it will solidify once it moves into to Taurus. So. Yeah, so that's it, you guys. Just be careful with lies and deceit. If something triggers your BS meter, it most likely is there for a very good reason, so listen to it. If your body gives you, if you get the hair on the back of your neck, or you get chills because you heard the truth, or you get the hair in the back of your neck, that's a warning that you're not safe, or that something's about to go terribly wrong. Might be 6 months or 3 months in the future, but you will remember that bodily experience. That is your empathing. And you need to protect yourself to be even more sensitive, so that you can, because being sensitive is good. We need to protect ourselves with the right type of diet that works well, for your body. That's why I love the blood type diet. It's been around since the late 70s, so I wish I would have known about it, earlier in the 80s even. But let's see. So protecting yourself with your body, your energy, diet, healthy boundaries with what you will take in and listen to, because Taurus rules the ears and hearing and the jaw. There might be some breakthroughs with tinnitus. Is that the way you say it? The ringing in the ears. If you have a gentle, high-pitched, just little bits of ear sounds, that can be guidance opening up. And then other people going through different forms of dizziness. I've learned recently that when I was on with Danny Shea, the people in the chat told us, oh yeah, that's those crystals. It turns out there are crystals in our ears, that in our inner ear, middle ear, that can, I guess, go in the wrong direction, and that can contribute to I forget what it's called, like BPVV or something, the vertigo, basically. I wish I could remember what the BPV, whatever. Anyway, it's vertigo, dizziness. You can't walk. It can be just very, very challenging. And but there are exercises. Danny was talking about. There are certain he was able to figure out, and I don't know if he found it on a YouTube video. You might want to write to him and ask him where he got the information. But he was able to do it himself. I would recommend having somebody there with you to help you, navigate afterwards. But he was able to do some neck exercises or turn his head in certain ways and just hold for a while until it changed, until it shifted. So things like that may be coming up more and more for people as we are becoming more and more sensitive. But the good thing is that we're more and more sensitive to our bodies because we really, really need to be fully in our bodies in order to bring through the spirit. We do not bring in spiritual realms by astral travel and astral planing and just going out too far. You can go out, get the information, but then as it applies to each and every one of us, we have to bring that into our body. It's like trying to meditate with just your head. You'll be so friggin' bored and you'll just spin and spin and spin. You have to meditate with your breath in your body, dropping your jaw and relaxing your pelvis. Otherwise, you just get nowhere very fast. So, okay, I'm done. Thanks, you guys. Take good care. Bye.